Hello everyone, my name is Trevor DeWitt and I've been working in the Global Logistics Department for about 3 months now. And this has been one of my major projects, is formalizing a lot of the information that we've currently had in global logistics that is often included in emails or back and forth as you get customer requests or questions about shipping internationally. So I'm going to do a quick training video on this tool. It should benefit multiple departments, customer account managers, salespeople, the RFP team, potentially finance, customer service. So I'll quickly go through some of the ways this will help you, and then a few of the details on how to use it. So this main page here, the shipping info page, is for a lot of international shipping requirements or procedures or potentially restrictions on what we can ship internationally. So starting at the top, there's some required fields here, and the only things you're going to be editing on this spreadsheet are going to be these boxes in the C columns. So invoice origin strictly means where is the order being placed out of. So if it's made by a U.S. salesperson, it would be made out of the U.S. If it was out of the German entity, it would be here. The numbers in the front are strictly the AX entity codes for the sales order, so that's what those sales order numbers start with. So I'm just going to take us through a quick scenario here. So let's say it's an U.S. order billing to a customer in the U.S., yet they want to ship to, let's say they want to ship to Germany. They have a call center in Germany they want to get up and running. And everything currently is shipping out of the U.S., so that's the only option. Moving forward, can these products ship to Germany? These responses here are based on the shipping location in either this field or this field. So in this case, everything's fine to ship to Germany. The notes describe special shipping situations or restrictions in that country. So in Germany, we're fine, no restrictions. For example, if it was a country with some restrictions, so let's say China, some of these things can't ship to China, so we can't ship an edge device, either of them, and there's certain notes on the caveats and the specific details as to why we can't ship there. So to further explain these two boxes and these two, so you'll see that it says ship to is in an ININ entity country. That specifically means that the customer is shipping to is in a country where we have an office. And so if you're questioning what countries we have offices in, they're in this drop-down list. So if you don't see, you want to ship to a country that's not in this list, that means you're going to be selecting from these, which are all of the rest of the countries in the world, and vice versa. If you're looking for a country in here and it's not there, it probably means we have an entity in it, and you'd select those. So you need one of those filled out, referencing these required fields. So in the case that I originally stated, that we're shipping to Germany, everything's good. Down here there's a little more info on some specifics. So are we allowed to ship to a government end user? That would mean that in Germany, this is a government type customer, and this is just saying, are we allowed to do that? You may not know, and this may not be that valuable of information, but it's a red flag in some situations. For certain countries, we don't want their governments to have hold of our devices. So we're good to go there. Who would be the importer of record? The customer is always the preferred importer of record. In some countries, that's an absolute necessity, but in this case, we do have an entity in Germany, so we are allowed to use them as the importer. But ideally, we're going to use the customer. Do we need a shipping authorization form? This is something it's described here in this comments box that the logistics team uses to get certain brokerage account information for paying the taxes and clearing it through customs. So this field says yes, we do need that in this case. And then there's some certain tax info that will be specific to certain departments that they would need. So let's just change this scenario slightly. So we will go with say we're going to ship to Angola instead. So a few things changed. We don't want their government end user to have that, so no. And there's some notes on why we don't ship there, or what experience we've had in the past. So that's most of the info for these scenarios. You might use this when starting a sales order to get to see who it's invoicing from, billing to, shipping to, what the caveats will be as we go through. That way we'll hopefully eliminate some of that conversation with the logistics team later on. Moving on, a lot of this info, the can the product ship there and the notes, is all here in this spreadsheet. So this is kind of a mess. That's why I cleaned it up by popping it up here. But if you're curious and want to get a better look at overall what all the countries look like, and whether maybe some of the big flags immediately like China, or any of the BRIC countries, or countries we have trade embargoes with like Cuba, this information is dynamic. So it's obviously constantly changing depending on global economies and our relationship with certain countries. So we're going to be having to send out updates to this file, and hopefully looking for a place to host this file that will allow us to do that in the easiest way possible. Moving on, for some departments, these estimators will be helpful, and for some departments they won't necessarily need them. So I'm thinking of a CAM or a salesperson when the customer would ask them how much does it cost to ship 100 phones to Portland, Oregon, and they quickly want to get a quote that's somewhere in the ballpark. The customer doesn't need the exact number right away, but they just want to be able to get it on the PO. That way we're not surprising them at the end of the process with a potentially very large shipping cost added onto their PO. So all you have to do on this field, or on this spreadsheet, is just type in your numbers up here, and then use this zone map to estimate your cost in this table above. So I said Portland, Oregon. That's in the green 4-day zone because we're shipping out of Indianapolis. So you're going to be looking at, for ground shipping, about $356. Express, second day, and overnight go up exponentially, as you can see. And then these are the averages. So say your customer wants to generally know how much it would cost maybe to ship in the US, and they don't know where all they want to send it yet. This averages all of the zones for ground. So that may be helpful in some cases that they just don't know, but they want an approximate shipping cost, and you might be able to give them that. So like I said, this is an approximate, it's an estimator. It's hopefully on the high end. That way we end up charging the customer a little less than we quoted them for. That always makes them happy instead of vice versa. So, like I said, strictly an estimator. Use your judgment to see where you're shipping to in the zones. Moving on, there's an international version as well. So, similarly to how there were zones for the US, I made my own zones and based this tool off of FedEx's estimator. So say we want to do 100 phones again. These are general areas. So Canada's still in North America, Germany's in the EU and the European area, Australia's APAC generally, and then South Africa is one of the farthest places we can ship to. So use these zones or countries nearby to estimate. So if, for example, you are shipping to New Zealand, you're going to use the Australia zone to help estimate. Or if you're shipping somewhere else in Africa, you use the South Africa, or any of the European countries, you would use Germany, because, like I said, it's an estimate, and we just want to get somewhere close. That way you can give the customer a number. And this should hopefully help eliminate a lot of the manual interaction between Greg and some of the shipping team, giving you quotes back. They're simply having to run a fake order through our shipping software and then void it. So this should help mimic that, and then help eliminate a little bit of the work and the manual interaction back and forth. So that's the highlight of this tool. It's a work in process, so like I said, a lot of the information is dynamic, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. I'm going to be the one managing it for now, and I'll be rotating out of global logistics into a different department here soon, so I'll be looking for the best way to keep this live and current. So hope this helps cut down on a lot of your questions and potentially speeds up some of the work, and allows us overall to get a better experience to the customer. So thank you, and good luck using it.